Alright, so now we're going to take a look at loops. First, we're going to go back to where we left off in this basic program, where if we run this, it'll print out. We'll type up something in response, hit enter. We see that it types something back, which is what we wanted it to do. However, if we try to type something else, we are unable to retype it in. That's because once the program ran all the way through, it came to a stop. If we wanted to keep going, we have to add a loop. So now there's lots of different types of loops. For right now, we're going to focus on the while loop. So we're going to move on out of this first project, and we're going to create a new project. So we go up to here, Java project. We're going to call this while loop practice, and then again we're going to select use project folder as root for sources and class files, and then hit finish. So we can see that's down here. We're going to double click on it, then we're going to right click on it, go up to new, and then class. And then we're going to type the same thing in. So that's the other way we can form a new class. And finish. So now, every program needs a class. Class is like the basic foundation for your program. So it's impossible to have just a plain Java folder like while loop practice and then write code inside of that and have it compile. So we're going to work on while loops. Now, there's a few things that we have to do before we get there, just like we did prior. So we're going to go to our first project, which we're going to click over here, first project. We're just going to copy over this public static main void, since we know we're going to have to do that. Then we're going to go back to our while loop practice and just paste that right here. Alright, hit enter, and there we go. Okay, so the basic setup for a while loop is we're going to have a condition and then a statement afterwards. So it's going to look like this. We're going to go while, and then some condition in the middle, and then we're going to need our curly brackets or curly braces. Right here will be where our statement is. I'm just going to write statement. Now, if you ever want to comment something in Java, commenting is actually an important part of programming. You can do 2 slashes and it won't affect the rest of the code. See, it's in green, it's no longer highlighted in red, so that means that right here is where you'll write your statement, but it won't affect the code if you have those 2 slashes. So now, we're going to do something simple. We're going to start off, we're going to do what's called initializing a variable. So we're going to say int total, and then we're going to just set it equal to some arbitrary value, let's say 12. Okay, so all we did there was we're saying that total is the name of the variable, and then we have our integer because it's going to be an integer, so that's all that int means, and then we're going to put a semicolon there. Okay, now the reason why we did that is we're going to use total as our condition for our while loop. So we're going to say total and then less than 100. Alright, and then we're going to go down here. That's what we're going to do. Total equals total plus 2. So now all that's saying is originally total is equal to 12. So we try to enter this while loop. Since total is less than 100, we can enter the while loop. Now, once the first time through the while loop, we're going to have total, which is 12, plus 2, so then it'll be 14. So then the new value for total will be set to 14. Then, since 14 is less than 100, it'll go right back through the while loop and it'll keep circling over and over until it's greater than or equal to 100. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go system.out print line, and then we're going to say total. Now again, we don't have these right here because we don't want to print the word total, we want to print the representation of total, the integer representation. So let's give this a try. We're going to hit run. OK. And see, it printed out 100. So total started at 12, it entered the while loop, and then we incremented total continually until it reached 100. Then once it reached 100, it got out of the while loop and stopped adding. So that's one example of a condition for a while loop. Another very common condition for a while loop is called a boolean statement. So for a boolean, it's either set to true or false. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this right here to true, and since it's no longer an integer value, we're going to change it to boolean. And then let's change the name of this too. Let's just say something like, let's call it pizza. So, well, pizza is equal to true. Or we can also say, well, pizza is equal to false. Okay, so originally we're going to start pizza off equal to false. And then for the while loop, we're going to adjust the while loop. And what I find it easiest to do is just say pizza equals false. There's other ways of doing this, however, the least confusing way for me is to just say while pizza is equal to false. Now, this double equal signs is equivalent. If I were to just do this, it means I'm setting pizza equal to false. But I want to check to see if it's equal to false. So that's where the dual equal sign comes into play. Alright, so now we're going to get rid of this since it's no longer necessary. And we want to print something out again. So up top here, this is what we'll do. We'll do system.out.print line. Now this time, I'll use quotations because I wanted to type out exactly what I'm writing. So I'm going to say, I want pizza. Now, notice it is able to enter the while loop because it is automatically set to false. But it'll never exit out of this while loop because it can never turn back to true. So for this right now, technically this would be poor Java programming, but for the example right now, it'll illustrate the effect of looping. So I'm going to hit run. We'll see what happens. So here it just keeps printing, I want pizza, without end. So what we're going to do is hit that red X. That'll stop your program. And then we're going to go back here. Let's say we only want to go through the loop once. So we're going to go here, and we're going to say pizza is equal to true, semicolon. Now notice I didn't say equals equals, and that's because I'm not testing to see if it's equivalent to true. I don't say now pizza is true. I asked for pizza, I got pizza, and now it'll just go through the loop once. As soon as it gets towards the end of the loop, it'll stop compiling, or it'll actually exit the loop. So here, boom, it only prints out once, which is exactly what we wanted. Now, last thing to notice, these curly brackets or curly braces right here, it's all inside the while loop. If I were to put this pizza is equal to true outside of the while loop, it would continue printing while loop. So stop that, We'll put that right back here where it should be. And then there's our basic program with the basic while loop.